Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Divya Gupta, Assistant Professor, Department of Law, Himachal Pradesh University, Regional Center, Dharamshala. In this video, we will discuss what is a contract. Contract is defined under Section 2H of the Indian Contract Act, which say that all agreement enforceable by law is a contract. So if we look into this definition, there are two terms used. First is agreement and the another is enforceable. Now what is an agreement? Agreement is defined under Section 2E of the Indian Contract Act, which provides that every promise and set of promises forming consideration for each other is a agreement. Now here the word promise is used. And promise is defined under Section 2B of the contract, which say that the person who accepts the proposal, to whom the proposal is given, has said to have accepted that proposal. Once the proposal is accepted, it becomes a promise. So promise is, if we look into these definition of promise and agreement, that means when one person gives the offer and other accept that offer, that becomes a promise. And these promises and set of promises by the offerer and the offeree becomes a agreement. Now the next question is whether all agreements are contract. So the answer is itself in the definition. Only the agreements enforceable by law. That means all agreements are not contracts. But in every contract there is an agreement. So only those agreements are contract which are enforceable, that means for which we can bring an action in a court. Now which are those agreements for which we can bring action? As you know, there are many casual agreements also we enter into in our daily life. Like A agrees to B, then let's go for a cup of coffee. We will go for a movie tomorrow. These are the casual agreement for which one cannot bring an action in a court that he has not fulfilled his promise. But only the agreement, if they fulfill the criteria laid down in the Section 10 of the Indian Contract Act, only then we can say that it is a contract and for which one can bring an action in a court. So what is Section 10? Section 10 of the Indian Contract Act provides that all agreements enter into by the parties with their free consent and by the parties who are competent to contract for lawful consideration with lawful object, and agreements which are not hereby declared to be the void are only a valid contract. So if we look into this definition, there are the 5 essentials for an agreement to be a contract, or we can say for the valid contract. And these essential are, first is that there should be an agreement between the parties. That means one person must have given the offer and the other person must have accepted the offer. This is the first essential. Then the second essential is parties must be competent to contract. That means competency means that parties must have, both the offerer and the offeree must have attained the age of majority and must be of sound mind. Third essential is that both the parties must have given their free consent. Fourth is that the object and consideration of an agreement should be lawful. It should not be unlawful. And the fifth one is the agreement must not be declared to be void under any provision of the law. So if the agreement fulfill all these 5 essential, only then we can say that it is a valid contract and for which person can bring an action in a court of law. So if we look into the definition of agreement now and the enforceability, now we can say that when one person who is competent to contract gives an offer to other and other accept that offer and they are competent to contract and both the parties have free consent, object and the consideration is also lawful, then we can say that has entered into a contract. Now in next video we will discuss with the all essentials of contract in detail.